We're about to enter the final 2 weeks of the summer transfer window, and no doubt all 20 Premier League teams will be frantically trying to get business done and get the players in to help them achieve their goals for the season, whether it's a title charge or a battle against relegation. So let's look at 6 Premier League clubs who still need to do big transfer business. First up, we've got Liverpool. So far this summer, the Reds have only brought in Mohamed Salah, Dominic Solanke and Andrew Robertson, which probably isn't enough if Jurgen Klopp intends to launch an assault on the Premier League title. While bringing in Mo Salah was a fantastic piece of business, with the Egyptian scoring on his debut, Solanke is still very young despite impressing in pre-season, and left-back Robertson wasn't that much of a standout player in Hull's relegation last season. Liverpool are screaming out for a leader at the back, which is why they wanted Virgil van Dijk, until they got told off. If their opening game is anything to go by, then the need for Van Dijk is even greater. On top of that, they may need to do even more business if Felipe Coutinho goes to Barcelona. They'll get a huge fee for the Brazilian, but Klopp needs to reinvest the money wisely, providing he's allowed to spend it all. Next up, we've got Swansea City. So far there's been limited first team players arrive at the Liberty, with Tammy Abraham coming in on loan from Chelsea, as well as the £11 million arrival of Roque Mesa. That really isn't enough for a team that narrowly avoided relegation last season, and with Gylfi Sigurdsson on his way to Everton, Paul Clement has a massive rebuilding job in such a short space of time. The Swans have been linked with moves for former players Wilfried Bony and Joe Allen, plus Nacer Chadli from West Brom once they get the money for their Icelandic talisman, but would that be enough to fill the void left by Sigurdsson? They'll be desperate for a creative player, and while Nacer Chadli has shown flashes, they'll need more than just the Belgian to keep them above the drop zone. Our third team is Crystal Palace. While the Eagles are apparently running on a tight budget this summer, Frank de Boer can't be happy with just 3 new players to work with Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Timothy Fosu-Mensah arriving on loan, plus the signing of Jairo Riedewald from Ajax, who only has a single-barreled name unfortunately. The Eagles were hammered on the opening day by New Boys Huddersfield, which could create some panic amongst the Crystal Palace faithful. Going forward, they've got a lot of talent with the likes of Wilfried Zaha, and Christian Benteke knows exactly where the back of the net is, but they look so suspect defensively, and that's where De Boer needs to look to strengthen before the window slams shut. Next, we've got Newcastle United. Much has been said about Newcastle's transfer dealings this summer and how annoyed gaffer Rafael Benitez is, but there are still a couple of weeks for the Magpies to get some deals over the line. They have brought in a fair few players, but a lot of their arrivals can be seen as risks. Christian Atsu impressed on loan last season, but has never done it at Premier League level, and their only signing with a canny bit of Premier League experience is Javier Manquillo, and he was relegated with rival Sunderland last season. Newcastle need reinforcements in attack, because they can't just rely on Dwight Gale for goals, and Joselu is again a risk, albeit a small one due to the price. If Benitez doesn't get the signings he needs, then it could be another long season for the Toon Army. Team number 5 is Southampton. Every summer the Saints lose one of their top players, but always have an incredible knack of replacing them. So far this summer, the only first team player they've got rid of is Jay Rodriguez, but a dark cloud has been cast over the future of Virgil van Dijk, who wants to move away from the south coast, with rumours of a move to the aforementioned Liverpool. So if the Dutchman does leave, then Maurizio Pellegrino will need a centre-back, but even that won't be enough. So far they've added Jan Bednarek and Mario Lemina, and while the latter comes highly coveted from Juventus, they aren't going to inspire too much confidence at St Mary's. Southampton are at the risk of becoming stale, and need to add some new energy to the side to rejuvenate an attack that looks unable to score a goal. Be it a wide man or an attacking midfielder, Southampton needs someone to help Manolo Gabbiadini and Charlie Austin get back on the goal trail. And finally, it's Tottenham Hotspur. Plain and simple, Tottenham have done zero business, other than sell Kyle Walker to Man City for a potential £50 million, and they're yet to find a replacement, currently relying on Kieran Trippier and youngster Kyle Walker-Peters. As well as Walker's departure, there's the situation surrounding Danny Rose, who has been very vocal about his displeasure at Spurs' lack of activity. Mauricio Pochettino does have a great first team, potentially the best in the country, but they need depth to make them serious title contenders rather than being also-rans again. Ross Barkley has been rumoured, and the Evertonian would truly be a great signing for everyone involved. Everton want rid, Barkley wants out, and Pochettino has a great track record with young English players. Moving on to the striker department, and Vincent Janssen isn't an adequate backup to Harry Kane, so there's another area that needs to be addressed. But it's going to be difficult to bring in anyone who knows fine well they're going to have to compete with Harry Kane for a place in the starting 11. It's a big couple of weeks for Spurs, and if they get their investment right, then it could be an even better season for them. But if they do nothing, then it's going to be same old Tottenham. So those are our 6 Premier League clubs who still need to do big transfer business this summer. Let us know who you think they could sign in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.